along a quiet stretch of Long Island shoreline, a horrifying discovery was made. It was a place known for its peaceful beaches and serene landscapes. The waves of the Atlantic Ocean gently lapped against the sand. The salty air carried the scent of the sea. It was a picture of tranquility, a stark contrast to the darkness that lay hidden just beneath the surface. This idyllic setting would soon become the backdrop for one of America's most disturbing unsolved mysteries. For years, a killer remained hidden in plain sight, a ghost haunting the community. The investigation would eventually take a dramatic turn, but the path to justice would be long and fraught with challenges, a winding road of unanswered questions. The story begins not with a crime, but with a search. A search for a missing person brought investigators to the desolate stretch of Ocean Parkway. They combed the dense, thorny brush that lined the highway. They did not expect what they would find. Instead of one person, they found many. The initial discovery of human remains near Gilgo Beach was just the beginning. It was the first thread in a complex and terrifying tapestry. This single finding triggered a much wider investigation, one that would span years and involve multiple law enforcement agencies. The scale of the horror was only just starting to reveal itself to the world. This case is a puzzle with many missing pieces. To understand it, we must follow the evidence. We must stick to the facts. This is an evidence-first approach, a commitment to separating what is proven from what is merely speculated. The narrative is built on official reports, police statements, and verified information. We will not invent dialogue or create scenes for dramatic effect. The truth, in this case, is more chilling than any fiction. We will examine the verified timelines and the forensic methods that were publicly confirmed. Our journey will take us through the quiet roads and neighborhoods of Long Island, guided by maps and official records. The tone we will maintain is one of respect. It is calm, but it acknowledges the gravity of the situation. It is suspenseful, but it is rooted in factual reporting. This is a story about the victims, their families, and the relentless pursuit of truth by investigators. The winter of 2010 was setting in across Long Island. Aerial shot of Gilgo Beach area with markers indicating the approximate location where the first set of remains was found along Ocean Parkway. Snowy, barren Long Island road and trees. On December 11th, a Suffolk County police officer and his canine partner were conducting a routine training exercise. Close-up of a calendar on December 11th. Officer walking with his German Shepherd during a training search. Their search, however, was anything but ordinary. They were looking for Shannon Gilbert, a 24-year-old woman from New Jersey. She had gone missing in the area 7 months prior. The search was focused along the desolate, windswept expanse of Ocean Parkway, a narrow road that separates the Great South Bay from the Atlantic Ocean. The officer, John Malia, guided his dog, a German Shepherd named Blue. They moved through the dense, tangled undergrowth that bordered the parkway. Poison ivy, thorny briars. It was a bleak landscape, especially in the cold light of a December day. The search for Shannon Gilbert led them to a spot near Gilgo Beach, a place mostly known to locals and summer visitors. As they moved through the brush, the police dog signaled a discovery. It was not the missing woman they were looking for. Instead, Officer Malia uncovered a set of skeletal remains wrapped in burlap. The discovery was chilling, immediately shifting the focus of the operation from a missing person case to a potential homicide investigation. The discovery was made in the late morning, and by afternoon, the area was a secured crime scene. The discovery of the remains, later identified as Melissa Barthelemy, who had been missing since 2009, was a somber and disturbing event. But it was also a critical turning point. The search for one missing person had inadvertently uncovered a potential serial killer's dumping ground. Investigators now faced a grim new reality. They weren't just searching for one person, they were now investigating a murder. And they had a strong, horrifying suspicion that there would be more to find in the dense, unforgiving landscape. Just 2 days after the first discovery, the search intensified. On December 13, 2010, the grim suspicions of the Suffolk County Police were confirmed. While conducting a more thorough and expanded search of the same stretch of Ocean Parkway, investigators found another set of human remains, then another, and another. The methodical search through the thorny brush revealed a horrifying pattern. The remains were similarly disposed of, wrapped in burlap sacks. The victims found that day were later identified as Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello. Like Melissa Barthélemy, all were women in their 20s who had worked as online escorts. The discoveries created a chilling timeline. Maureen Brainerd Barnes vanished 2007. Melissa Barthélemy vanished 2009. Megan Waterman vanished 2010. Amber Lynn Costello vanished 2010. Police now had 4 victims. Same small area, similar backgrounds. The term serial killer moved from theory to terrifying reality. Media began calling them the Gilgo Four. The investigation continued into spring 2011 as snow melted and more landscape was revealed. The search area expanded east into Nassau County and west toward Jones Beach. On March 29, 2011, another set of partial remains was found. Then on April 4th, 3 more discoveries were made. These new findings were different. Some remains were dismembered. Some belonged to individuals who did not fit the Gilgo 4 profile. The number of victims was growing. Spring discoveries raised the total to 10 individuals. The grim inventory included the 4 December women, an unidentified Asian male, a young female toddler, the toddler's mother, and others. Personal items belonging to Shannon Gilbert were found in a nearby marshland. Her body was not yet located. What began as one missing person case had become a sprawling, multi-victim crime scene stretching for miles along Long Island's South Shore. The question was no longer just who killed the Gilgo Four, but how many killers were involved and how many more victims were still hidden. Following the flurry of grim discoveries in 2010 and 2011, the investigation entered a long and frustrating period of stagnation. The initial momentum, driven by finds along Ocean Parkway, slowed to a crawl. For years, the case seemed to go cold in the public eye. Law enforcement insisted the probe remained active, but tangible progress was scarce. The names of the victims were known. The locations of the remains were mapped. The killer's identity remained a complete mystery. One primary challenge was the lack of forensic leads. DNA had been crucial in identifying many victims, but it had not yet led them to a suspect. The killer had been careful. Remains were exposed to harsh coastal elements for years, degrading potential evidence. They chased down hundreds of tips from the public, interviewed potential witnesses, and re-examined every detail, but each path seemed to lead to a dead end. The timeline of major public developments during this era is sparse. In 2012, the Suffolk County Police Department released composite sketches, the Asian male, Jane Doe No. 3, Peaches, and photos of jewelry found with their remains, hoping someone would recognize them. Those appeals generated some leads, but did not result in identifications at the time. Behind the scenes, investigators were anything but quiet. They continued to build profiles of potential suspects and reanalyzed evidence with every minor advance in forensic technology. They believed the killer was likely still out there, possibly living a normal life, hiding in plain sight. The psychological weight of an unsolved serial murder is immense, and the pressure from the public and the victims' families never truly subsided. These years were not years of inaction, but a long, arduous process of searching for a needle in a haystack, a single thread that could unravel the entire conspiracy of silence surrounding the killer. As the 2010s drew to a close, nearly a decade had passed since the first remains were discovered. The investigation, however, was about to enter a new phase, driven by changes in leadership and a renewed commitment to leveraging modern technology. In 2020, the Suffolk County Police Department, under a new commissioner, held a press conference. They revealed a previously unreleased piece of evidence: a photograph of a black leather belt embossed with the initials WH or HM, believed to have been handled by the suspect. Investigators also confirmed the identity of Jane Doe No. 6 as Valerie Mack, a breakthrough achieved through advanced genetic genealogy techniques. This method had been gaining prominence in solving cold cases across the country. Behind the scenes, a new task force was formed, bringing together investigators from the Suffolk County Police Department, the FBI, the New York State Police, and other local agencies. This revitalized team was tasked with re-examining every piece of evidence from scratch. They approached the case with fresh eyes and access to cutting-edge tools that were not available in 2011. The focus shifted heavily toward digital forensics and genetic genealogy. The taunting phone calls, the burner phones, and the vast amounts of cell tower data collected years ago were all reanalyzed with more powerful software and new analytical techniques. Another critical piece of evidence was a Chevrolet Avalanche pickup truck. A witness in the Amber Costello case had reported seeing a large, dark truck similar to an Avalanche at the time of her disappearance in 2010. The task force began to search motor vehicle records. This cross-referencing of seemingly disparate data sets, cell phone records, vehicle registrations, and physical addresses, was the core of the new strategy. The name that emerged from this complex web of data was Rex Heuermann. He was a 59-year-old architect and married father of two, living in a modest, weathered house in Massapequa Park. By all outward appearances, an ordinary commuter. The task force placed Heuermann under intensive surveillance. In January 2023, surveillance teams followed Heuermann and watched as he discarded a pizza box into a trash can in Manhattan. Investigators quickly recovered the box. The Suffolk County Crime Laboratory analyzed the sample. The lab report, detailed in later court filings, stated that the DNA from the pizza crust was a match. On the evening of July 13, 2023, the quiet work of the task force erupted into public view. As Rex Heuermann left his Midtown office, officers approached and arrested him. Investigators immediately executed a search warrant on Heuermann's home. For nearly 2 weeks, the property was an active crime scene. The day after, the Suffolk County DA unsealed a detailed indictment. Heuermann was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of second-degree murder in the death of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. These are allegations. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all charges. In January 2024, prosecutors filed a superseding indictment charging Rex Heuermann with the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. This development officially linked the suspect to all 4 of the women discovered in December 2010. While the arrest represents a significant breakthrough, it is crucial to remember that much of this sprawling case remains unresolved. The investigation is far from over. Authorities have been clear that their work continues, particularly concerning the other 6 sets of human remains discovered along Ocean Parkway in 2011. A key question: will evidence connect Rex Heuermann to these other deaths, or was another killer, or killers, responsible? Genetic genealogy offers the best hope of naming the unidentified victims, a step that could unlock new leads in each case. Even after years of investigation, many questions remain unanswered. As new evidence continues to emerge, the Gilgo Beach case reminds us that some mysteries take decades to unravel. But the search for truth never truly ends.